I still remember the first time abs crossed my mind. Back in school, all the talk was about who had the perfect body. The guys wanted to impress, the girls loved a flat stomach and a six-pack, and I was right there, caught in the middle of it. So, I did what seemed logical at the time. The second I got home, I dropped to the floor and started hammering out crunches. One after the other. Fast. Hard. Until my abs were screaming and cramping so badly that I had to stop. And then came the big reveal. I ran to the mirror, lifted my shirt, and nothing. Same belly. Same body. Not a single hint of a six-pack. I remember poking, squeezing, even flexing harder, just to see if maybe I missed it. But no. That was the moment reality slapped me in the face. Abs don't just appear because you work out for one day. Fast forward years later, and here's the crazy part, millions of people are still chasing that same illusion. Every day, how to lose belly fat ranks among the top health searches online. It's proof that the frustration I felt back then. Yeah, it's universal. But here's what most people never realize, belly fat isn't just about doing sit-ups or crunches. In fact, those barely move the needle. Stubborn fat around the waist is influenced by so much more, your diet, your sleep, your stress levels, your lifestyle. It's not about punishing yourself with one more workout. It's about understanding how your body actually works. And that's why this series exists. I'm not here to feed you the usual nonsense, drink this detox tea, do this one secret exercise, or buy this miracle supplement. You've heard all that before. Instead, I'm going to break down the real reasons belly fat sticks around, and exactly what you can do about it. Step by step. Backed by science. Think of it like this, every chapter is one piece of a puzzle. Put them together, and you'll not only slim down your waistline, but you'll also improve your energy, your health, and even how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror. But we have to start at the beginning, by cutting through the lies. Because if you're still convinced that endless of workouts will melt fat, or that some magic food will flatten your stomach overnight, then you'll stay trapped in the cycle of frustration that I once lived. Here's the truth, getting rid of belly fat isn't quick, and it isn't easy. But it is absolutely possible. And the very first step to solving the problem is knowing where it actually comes from. So, if crunches aren't the solution, what is? Let's strip it back to the number one reason belly fat builds up in the first place, and why most people never escape it. Here's the uncomfortable truth about belly fat, most of it comes down to eating more than your body actually needs. Sounds obvious, right? But stick with me, because this single point is where nearly everyone goes wrong. See, when you take in more calories than you burn, your body doesn't just throw away the excess. It stores it. First in your muscles and liver as glycogen, and once those tanks are full, the rest gets tucked away as fat. Over time, that surplus energy piles up around your waist, hips, and organs. That's how belly fat builds up, slowly, almost invisibly. And here's the kicker, it doesn't matter if those calories come from healthy foods or junk. Yes, quality matters for your health, but if the quantity is too high, your body still stores the extra as fat. You can drink green smoothies, eat avocado toast, or snack on almonds all day, but if you overdo it, the result is the same, fat storage. Now, here's why this is so tricky. We live in an environment where food is everywhere. High-calorie, ultra-processed foods are designed to make you crave more. Portions are bigger than ever. Add stress eating, late-night snacking, or just mindless nibbling in front of Netflix, and suddenly, without realizing it, you're overeating every single day. That's why belly fat isn't about doing more crunches. It's about creating what scientists call an energy deficit, burning more than you consume. That's the only way fat comes off, no matter what diet you follow. Keto, intermittent fasting, paleo, vegan, it doesn't matter. The magic isn't in the label, it's in the math. Eat less than you burn, consistently, and your body is forced to tap into stored fat for energy. But here's where it gets interesting: your body doesn't choose where to pull fat from. You can't tell it, "Hey, take it from my stomach first." That's why spot reducing, trying to melt fat off your belly with exercises, is a myth. You lose fat everywhere, and the stomach is usually one of the last places to slim down. Frustrating, I know. So what do you do? The answer is not extreme starvation or cutting out entire food groups. That just leads to burnout and binging. Instead, you need a plan that makes eating fewer calories feel natural, through smarter food choices, portion awareness, and building habits that keep you consistent. And here's the good news: once you understand this principle, everything else starts to click. Because suddenly you realize it's not about chasing hacks or secret foods, it's about mastering the balance between what goes in and what goes out. But if eating too much is the main cause, why do some people gain belly fat even when they don't think they're overeating? The answer lies in something most of us struggle with but rarely talk about: hormones. So, if overeating is the main cause of belly fat, why do some people seem to struggle even when they're not eating that much? Or why can two people eat the same meals, but one gains fat in the belly while the other doesn't? The answer often comes down to hormones. Your body isn't just a machine that counts calories in and out. It's a living system run by chemical messengers that control how you store fat, where you store it, and even how hungry you feel in the first place. And when those messengers are out of balance, your stomach often pays the price. One of the biggest players here is cortisol, the stress hormone. Think of cortisol as your body's built-in alarm system. In small doses, it's actually useful. It helps you react quickly in stressful situations. But when stress becomes chronic, too many deadlines, constant worries, lack of sleep, your body keeps pumping out cortisol. And high cortisol has been linked to an increase in belly fat. Not necessarily because stress adds more calories to your diet, but because it changes how your body processes the calories you already eat. It signals your body to store more fat around your midsection, as a sort of energy reserve. On top of that, stress often makes us crave high-calorie comfort foods, sugary snacks, salty chips, alcohol. That combination? A recipe for stubborn belly fat. Cortisol isn't the only hormone involved. Insulin, for example, helps regulate blood sugar. But if your diet is heavy in processed foods and sugar, your body can become resistant to insulin. That means more glucose floating in your bloodstream, and eventually, more fat stored, especially around the waist. Then there are the hunger hormones: ghrelin, which tells you when you're hungry, and leptin, which signals when you're full. When you don't sleep enough or live under constant stress, these hormones get out of sync. Suddenly, you're hungrier than usual, you feel less satisfied after meals, and you end up eating more without even realizing it. This is why belly fat isn't just about eating too much. For some people, stress, poor sleep, and hormone imbalances make the problem twice as hard. Even if they're not consuming huge amounts of food, their bodies are primed to hold on to fat, especially around the stomach. But here's the hopeful part: your hormones aren't set in stone. You can influence them every single day with your habits. Things like managing stress, sleeping well, moving regularly, and eating balanced meals all help bring your hormones back into alignment. When they're balanced, fat loss becomes much easier. But not everything that makes your stomach stick out is actually fat. Sometimes, what you see in the mirror is something else entirely, something temporary, uncomfortable, and often misunderstood. Let's talk about bloating. Not everything that makes your stomach stick out is actually fat. Sometimes, what you see in the mirror has nothing to do with stored calories at all. Instead, it's something temporary, uncomfortable, and often misunderstood: bloating. Now, bloating is not body fat. That's important to understand. Fat is stored energy, something your body keeps for the long haul. Bloating, on the other hand, is a buildup of gas, water, or digestive discomfort that makes your belly look and feel bigger than it really is. The frustrating part? When you're bloated, you feel heavier. Your stomach might feel tight, swollen, or even painful. And from the outside, it can look just like fat gain. That's why so many people confuse bloating with belly fat, and end up trying to burn it off when the real fix is completely different. So, what actually causes bloating? One big culprit is salt. When you eat too much sodium, your body holds on to water. That excess water gets stored in your tissues, and you can literally see it in your midsection. Think of it like a sponge, too much salt, and your body soaks up water to keep things balanced. Another common cause? Carbohydrates. Don't get me wrong, carbs aren't bad. They're your body's main source of energy. But when you eat a high-carb meal, your muscles store some of it as glycogen. For every gram of glycogen stored, your body also stores about 3 grams of water. That's why you might notice your belly looking puffier after pasta, bread, or pizza. It's not fat, it's water storage. Then there's food intolerance. Some people struggle to properly digest certain foods, like dairy, gluten, or artificial sweeteners. That incomplete digestion creates gas in the intestines, which pushes your stomach outward. Again, not fat, just trapped air. Even stress plays a role. When your body is tense, digestion slows down, which can cause discomfort, constipation, and, you guessed it, bloating. Here's the good news, bloating is temporary. It can go away in a matter of hours or days once you address the cause. Lowering your salt intake, drinking more water, eating enough fiber, and paying attention to how your body reacts to certain foods can all make a huge difference. So, why does this matter in a series about belly fat? Because if you don't understand the difference between real fat and temporary bloating, you'll keep chasing the wrong solution. You'll keep doing crunches, running miles, or cutting calories when the real problem might be something as simple as too much salt or an intolerance to certain foods. And let me be clear, bloating isn't dangerous. But it can absolutely sabotage your motivation. Nothing kills progress faster than looking in the mirror and thinking all your hard work hasn't paid off, when in reality, you're just holding a little extra water or dealing with digestion issues. But if bloating is temporary, belly fat is a different story. And as the years go by, that fat doesn't just get harder to lose, it can actually shift the way your body stores it. Let's talk about the one thing none of us can escape, age. There's one thing we all share, no matter who we are, we're getting older. And as the years pass, your body doesn't respond to food, exercise, and recovery the way it once did. That's why losing belly fat at 50 often feels nothing like losing it at 20. But here's the key, harder doesn't mean impossible. So, what actually changes with age? First, your metabolism slows down. That's not just a cliché, it's biology. As we age, we tend to lose lean muscle mass, especially if we're not strength training. And since muscle burns more calories than fat, having less of it means your body needs fewer calories to function. If your eating habits stay the same, but your body is burning less, that extra energy ends up stored as fat. Second, hormones shift. For men, testosterone levels naturally decline with age. Lower testosterone means less muscle, more fat storage, and a slower recovery from exercise. For women, menopause often brings a drop in estrogen, which is linked to more fat being stored around the belly. It's not just about vanity, these hormonal shifts can affect your health, energy, and even mood. Third, lifestyle patterns change. In your 20s, you might move more without even realizing it, walking to class, staying active with friends, or just having more energy. Fast forward a few decades, and many people sit longer, exercise less, and deal with more stress and responsibilities. Less movement plus the same, or higher, calorie intake equals belly fat. And finally, sleep quality often declines with age. Poor sleep impacts your hunger hormones and raises cortisol, that stress hormone we talked about earlier. That combo makes cravings stronger and fat loss harder. Now, here's the mistake many people make, they think belly fat after 40 or 50 is inevitable, something they just have to accept. That couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, it takes more effort. Yes, it may take longer. But it's absolutely possible to achieve a flat, healthy stomach at any age. The key is adjusting your strategy. You can't expect the same approach you used at 20 to work at 50. It's about training smarter, eating with awareness, and prioritizing recovery. Building strength to protect muscle mass, eating enough protein, and focusing on quality sleep become non-negotiables as you age. Think of it like upgrading your playbook. Your body changes, so your strategy has to change too. And the people who adapt? They're the ones who transform, even later in life. So, don't fall into the trap of thinking age is an excuse. Age isn't the enemy, it's simply a reminder to train with intention and treat your health like the priority it deserves to be. But sometimes, it's not just age or stress or hormones making your belly bigger. Sometimes, the answer is hiding in plain sight, in that glass you keep reaching for at dinner. Let's talk about the silent saboteur of belly fat, alcohol. Picture this, you've been careful with your diet all week, hitting the gym, eating clean, tracking your meals. Then Friday night rolls around. You pour a drink, or two, or three, thinking, it's just liquid, how bad can it be? Here's the reality, alcohol is one of the sneakiest contributors to belly fat. Why? First, alcohol is calorie-dense. Every gram of alcohol has about 7 calories. That's almost as much as fat, which has 9. The problem is, those calories don't come with any nutrients. No protein, no fiber, no vitamins. Just empty energy. A couple of glasses of wine or a few beers can easily match the calories of a full meal, but your body doesn't register it the same way. You don't feel as full, which means you're likely to keep eating on top of it. Second, alcohol changes the way your body burns energy. Normally, your body pulls energy from carbs and fat. But when alcohol enters the system, your liver puts everything else on pause to process it. Why? Because alcohol is toxic in large amounts, so your body wants to clear it first. That means fat burning slows down while your body deals with the alcohol. The result? More fat storage, especially around the stomach. Third, alcohol lowers inhibitions. That's science's polite way of saying, when you drink, you make worse choices. Suddenly, pizza at midnight sounds perfect. Another round of fries? Why not? That extra snacking adds even more calories to the pile, pushing your body deeper into fat storage mode. And finally, alcohol impacts your hormones. Drinking can spike cortisol, the stress hormone, while reducing testosterone. Remember what we said about hormones and belly fat? That's a double hit, more storage signals, less muscle building power. Now, does this mean you have to swear off alcohol forever? Not necessarily. What it means is that if your goal is to reduce belly fat, alcohol has to be managed carefully. Even small cutbacks can make a noticeable difference. Here's a practical tip, choose lower calorie drinks like spirits with soda water instead of sugary cocktails or beer. And set yourself limits, 2 or 3 drinks a week instead of nightly glasses of wine. The difference adds up fast, not just in calories, but in how your body processes fat. Remember, alcohol doesn't just sit in your glass, it shows up on your waistline. So, if alcohol can sabotage your progress that easily, what can actually help speed it up? The answer lies in a food group most people overlook, and yet, it's one of the most powerful tools for shrinking belly fat, fiber. When people talk about losing belly fat, they usually jump straight to cutting carbs, doing more cardio, or some new, fat-burning, hack. But one of the most underrated tools for trimming your waistline isn't a magic pill or a workout trend. It's something simple, natural, and already sitting in your kitchen, fiber. Now, not all fiber works the same way. What really matters here is soluble fiber, the type that dissolves in water and forms a gel-like substance in your gut. Think of it like a sponge. When you eat foods rich in soluble fiber, that sponge slows down digestion. It keeps food in your stomach longer, which means you feel full for hours instead of minutes. And when you're full, you're far less likely to overeat later in the day. Studies consistently show that people who eat more soluble fiber have less belly fat over time. Why? Because fiber doesn't just fill you up, it also helps regulate blood sugar, reduces cravings, and even improves gut health. A healthier gut means less inflammation, better nutrient absorption, and yes, easier fat loss. So, where do you find this magic nutrient? Some of the best sources are beans, lentils, oats, apples, pears, carrots, flax seeds, and avocados. Notice something? These aren't exotic superfoods. They're everyday, affordable foods you can start adding to your meals right now. Here's a simple example: swap your regular breakfast cereal for a bowl of oats topped with berries and chia seeds. That single change adds a massive dose of fiber to your morning, keeping you satisfied until lunch. Or replace chips with carrot sticks and hummus. It's small tweaks like these that, over time, create big results. And here's another bonus: fiber-rich foods are usually packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. So while you're slimming down, you're also fueling your body with nutrients that boost your health, energy, and recovery. If you want to start seeing changes in your stomach, don't just think about what you need to cut out. Think about what you can add. Adding more fiber to your diet could be the simplest, smartest step you take toward a flatter, healthier belly. But fiber is only half the story. Because while adding the right foods can help, cutting the wrong ones is just as important. And there are two hidden culprits almost everyone consumes daily that silently expand your waistline: sugar and salt. If fiber is the quiet hero of fat loss, sugar and salt are its evil twins. They sneak into your diet, often unnoticed, and while they don't look dangerous on the surface, they can sabotage your progress faster than almost anything else. Let's start with sugar. Sugar itself isn't poison, it's energy. The problem is how much of it slips into the modern diet. From sodas to sauces, from breakfast cereals to healthy protein bars, sugar is everywhere. And when you eat too much of it, your body processes it into glucose and fructose. Glucose can be used for energy, but excess fructose gets shuttled straight to your liver. If the liver is already full of glycogen, that extra fructose is converted into fat. Over time, that fat builds up around your midsection, contributing to what we call visceral fat, the deep, dangerous kind that surrounds your organs. But that's not the only issue. High sugar intake spikes your blood sugar, then crashes it down, leaving you craving more. That roller coaster leads to overeating, constant hunger, and a cycle that's hard to break. In short, sugar doesn't just add calories, it tricks your brain into wanting more calories. Now let's talk about salt. Unlike sugar, salt doesn't add fat directly. But it does something sneaky: it makes you hold on to water. When you consume high amounts of sodium, your body pulls water into your tissues to balance things out. That extra water makes you feel bloated, puffy, and heavier than you actually are. Look in the mirror after a salty meal, and it can feel like you've gained fat overnight, when really, it's water retention. Salt also makes food hyperpalatable. Think about chips, fries, or fast food. The salt doesn't just preserve flavor, it amplifies it, making you eat way past the point of fullness. That's how salt indirectly adds fat, not by calories on its own, but by encouraging you to overeat. Here's the truth: you don't need to cut sugar or salt completely. But you do need to control them. Reducing added sugar, especially from sodas, candy, pastries, and processed foods, can dramatically lower your belly fat over time. As for salt, aim for natural sources: fruits, vegetables, lean meats. Season your meals, but be mindful of processed snacks and takeout, where sodium levels can skyrocket. The payoff? Lower sugar means fewer cravings and a steadier appetite. Lower salt means less bloating and a flatter-looking stomach almost immediately. Combine that with fiber, and you've got a diet that supports fat loss instead of fighting against it. But it's not just about what you eat, it's also about how you prepare for action. Because the right fuel before a workout doesn't just give you energy, it can actually help target stubborn belly fat. And the secret weapon here? Something you probably drink every day: caffeine. When people think about coffee or tea, they usually picture a morning ritual, a way to wake up and get moving. But what most don't realize is that caffeine isn't just about energy, it can actually give you an edge in the battle against belly fat. Here's how it works. Caffeine is a natural stimulant. When you drink it, it blocks adenosine, the chemical in your brain that makes you feel sleepy. At the same time, it triggers the release of adrenaline and norepinephrine, hormones that fire up your nervous system and prepare your body for action. That means more focus, more alertness, and, most importantly, more physical output during exercise. Studies show that people who consume caffeine before a workout are able to push harder, lift heavier, and last longer. In simple terms, caffeine helps you burn more calories, not just because of the stimulant effect, but because it lets you perform at a higher level. And more calories burned equals a greater chance of tapping into stored fat. Now, here's where it ties directly to belly fat. Research has found that caffeine can increase the release of fatty acids into the bloodstream, especially from visceral fat, the deep fat that sits around your organs. When those fatty acids are floating around, your body can burn them for energy during exercise. That doesn't mean coffee alone melts belly fat, but it does mean it helps unlock fat so your body can use it. The best part? You don't need anything fancy. Black coffee and green tea are two of the cleanest, healthiest caffeine sources you can find. Green tea even comes with extra compounds like catechins, which may have additional fat-burning benefits. But, like everything in nutrition, balance matters. Too much caffeine can backfire. Overdosing on it can cause jitters, anxiety, a racing heart, or poor sleep. And remember, poor sleep raises cortisol, which works against your fat loss goals. So if you're guzzling energy drinks at night, you're sabotaging yourself. The sweet spot for most people. About 200 milligrams of caffeine, or roughly 1 strong cup of coffee, taken 30 to 45 minutes before your workout. That gives your body time to absorb it and get you primed for performance. One important note: skip the sugar-loaded coffee drinks. A caramel latte with whipped cream has more calories than you'll burn in the gym. Stick to black coffee, green tea, or simple espresso shots if you want the benefits without undoing them. Think of caffeine as a legal performance enhancer. Used strategically, it can help you burn more calories, target stubborn fat, and make your workouts feel easier. But like any tool, it only works if you use it wisely. But caffeine isn't the only thing people swear by for belly fat. There's another so-called miracle remedy that's exploded in popularity: apple cider vinegar. But does it really work, or is it just another overhyped trend? If you've spent any time scrolling through fitness tips online, you've definitely seen it: the claim that a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar can melt belly fat. It's one of those miracle hacks that just won't die. But is there any truth to it, or is it just another trend selling you false hope? Let's separate fact from fiction. First, what apple cider vinegar, ACV, actually does. When you drink a small amount, usually diluted in water, it can slow down how quickly food leaves your stomach. That means you feel fuller for longer, which may naturally help you eat fewer calories. Some studies also suggest it can improve insulin sensitivity, helping your body manage blood sugar more effectively after meals. Both of those effects can, in theory, support fat loss. Sounds good, right? But here's the catch. The actual fat loss benefits of ACV are small. One study found that participants who drank 1 to 2 tablespoons a day lost a little more weight over a few months than those who didn't. But the difference was only a couple of pounds. Not a dramatic transformation. And certainly not enough to flatten your belly on its own. The problem is that the internet takes these small findings and blows them out of proportion. You've probably seen headlines like, "Lose 20 pounds in a month with apple cider vinegar." That's not how it works. ACV can play a supporting role, but it's not a magic bullet. If your diet is still overloaded with sugar, alcohol, or junk food, vinegar isn't going to erase it. There are also some risks. Drinking vinegar straight can damage your teeth, irritate your throat, and upset your stomach. If you're going to use it, it should always be diluted in water, and ideally taken before a meal, not as a random shot. So, should you take apple cider vinegar? The honest answer, you can, but you don't have to. If you like it and it helps you feel fuller, go ahead, just don't expect miracles. But if you hate the taste, skip it. Focus on the bigger wins, eating more fiber, reducing sugar, staying active, and sleeping well. Those changes move the needle way more than vinegar ever could. Here's the bottom line, apple cider vinegar is like a tiny screwdriver in the toolbox of fat loss. Useful in specific situations, but not the tool that builds the whole house. Don't let hype distract you from the fundamentals. And speaking of fundamentals, there's one factor more powerful than any supplement, hack, or diet trick. It's free, it's simple, and yet most people don't get enough of it. I'm talking about sleep, and why it might be the missing link in your fat loss journey. When people think about losing belly fat, they usually focus on diet and exercise. Eat less, move more, that's the classic advice. But there's a third piece of the puzzle that almost everyone overlooks. It costs nothing, requires no equipment, and yet it can completely change how your body stores fat. That hidden weapon. Sleep. Here's the science. When you cut sleep short, whether it's staying up late scrolling on your phone, working long nights, or simply tossing and turning, your body immediately starts working against you. The first hormones that get thrown out of balance are ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. It tells you to eat. Leptin is the satiety hormone. It tells you when you're full. When you're sleep deprived, ghrelin goes up and leptin goes down. Translation: you feel hungrier, crave more food, and never feel fully satisfied. On top of that, lack of sleep raises cortisol, the stress hormone we talked about earlier. Elevated cortisol tells your body to hold on to fat, especially around your midsection. That's why people who consistently get poor sleep often see their waistlines expand, even if they're not eating that much more. And it doesn't stop there. Sleep deprivation also affects how your body handles blood sugar. With too little rest, your cells become less sensitive to insulin. That means more glucose floats around in your bloodstream, and your body is more likely to store it as fat. Add in fatigue, which makes you less likely to exercise, and the cycle is complete. Poor sleep leads to poor food choices, less activity, and more belly fat. Now here's the hopeful part. Just as lack of sleep wrecks your progress, quality sleep accelerates it. 8 hours of restful, deep sleep is like a secret fat loss superpower. Your hormones rebalance. Your hunger stabilizes. Your recovery from workouts improves. Your body naturally shifts toward fat-burning mode. So, how do you actually improve your sleep? Start with the basics. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Avoid screens at least 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. Cut back on caffeine in the afternoon. And, if possible, create a short bedtime routine, a signal to your brain that it's time to wind down. These small changes add up. Because when your sleep improves, your discipline improves too. You make better food choices, have more energy to train, and actually give your body the recovery it needs to burn fat. Here's the takeaway: sleep isn't a luxury. It's a fat loss tool. If you're serious about shrinking belly fat, getting 7 to 9 hours of high-quality sleep should be at the top of your checklist. Now, we've covered food, hormones, and even sleep, but there's another piece most people ignore. It's not about eating less. It's about eating the right kinds of fat. Yes, you heard that right, eating fat to lose fat. Let's break it down. It sounds almost backward, doesn't it? Eat fat to lose fat. For decades, we were told that dietary fat was the enemy, that if you wanted to slim down, you had to cut it out completely. Low-fat snacks, fat-free yogurts, light everything. But here's the truth, not all fats are equal. In fact, the right kinds of fat can actually help shrink your waistline and improve your overall health. Let's break it down. Your body needs fat. It's essential for hormone production, brain function, nutrient absorption, and even keeping your skin healthy. The trick is choosing the fats that support your body instead of working against it. That's where polyunsaturated fats come in. Polyunsaturated fats, especially omega-3s, are found in foods like salmon, tuna, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, and sunflower seeds. These fats do more than just give your body energy. They help reduce inflammation, improve heart health, and, here's the part we care about, are linked to reductions in visceral fat, the dangerous fat that collects around your organs. One study out of Sweden compared people who ate a diet rich in polyunsaturated fats to those who ate more saturated fats. The results? The polyunsaturated group not only lost more belly fat, but they also gained more lean muscle in the process. That's the dream combo, less fat, more muscle. Now, what about the fats you want to limit? Saturated fats and especially trans fats. Saturated fats are found in things like fatty cuts of meat, butter, and cheese. In moderation, they're not the devil, but too much can increase fat storage around your midsection. Trans fats, on the other hand, are man-made fats found in many processed foods, fried items, and baked goods. They're directly linked to weight gain, inflammation, and higher risk of disease. In short, avoid them whenever possible. So, how do you put this into action? Simple swaps make a huge difference. Replace butter or margarine with olive oil. Add a handful of walnuts instead of chips. Grill salmon once or twice a week. Sprinkle flax seeds into your smoothie or oats. These little shifts gradually change the quality of fat you eat, which in turn changes how your body responds. But here's something important, fats are still high in calories. A tablespoon of olive oil has about 120 calories. A small handful of nuts can be 200. The key isn't to drown your meals in healthy fats, it's to use them strategically. Think of them as fuel and medicine, not as a free-for-all. When you get this balance right, something powerful happens. You stop fearing fat, and instead, you use it as a tool, fuel for workouts, support for your hormones, and a partner in the fight against belly fat. But food is only half the battle. Because if you're not moving your body in the right way, you'll always feel stuck. And here's the truth, burning belly fat isn't about endless cardio. It's about a smarter kind of training, one that builds muscle and burns fat at the same time. Here's a common mistake, when people decide to lose belly fat, they immediately lace up their running shoes and hit the treadmill for hours. Cardio, cardio, cardio. Don't get me wrong, cardio has its place. It burns calories, strengthens your heart, and improves endurance. But if cardio is your only tool, you're leaving half the results on the table. Because the real secret isn't just burning fat. It's building muscle. Let's talk about strength training. When you lift weights, use resistance bands, or even do bodyweight exercises like push-ups and squats, you're not just working your muscles, you're signaling your body to grow stronger. And here's the magic, muscle tissue burns more calories than fat, even while you're resting. That means the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism. You literally become a fat-burning machine, 24/7. Now combine that with cardio, and you've got the perfect combo. Cardio helps create the calorie deficit you need to lose fat, while strength training preserves, or even builds, lean muscle mass. This is crucial because when people diet without strength training, they often lose muscle along with fat. The result? A smaller body, but not a toned one. That's why you sometimes hear the phrase, skinny fat, thin, but still carrying belly fat because muscle was never built. The goal isn't just to lose weight, it's to change your body composition. Less fat, more muscle. That's what creates the toned stomach everyone is chasing. And no, strength training won't make you bulky. For most people, especially women, it creates definition, shape, and a leaner look. It's about sculpting, not inflating. So, what's the formula? Aim for at least 2 to 3 strength training sessions per week. Focus on compound movements that work multiple muscles at once: squats, deadlifts, push-ups, rows, presses. Add in cardio 2 to 3 times a week, whether that's jogging, cycling, swimming, or even brisk walking. And for maximum efficiency, try high-intensity interval training, HIIT. Short bursts of all-out effort, followed by recovery, torch calories, and boost your metabolism long after the workout is over. But here's the key: consistency. You don't need to train like an athlete. You just need to show up, week after week. The people who see results aren't the ones doing extreme programs for 30 days, they're the ones who stick to a balanced routine for months and years. Think of cardio and strength as teammates. One creates the deficit, the other protects your muscle and boosts your burn. Together, they're unstoppable. But training isn't the only thing shaping your results. There's another factor that's often overlooked, one that doesn't happen in the gym, but in your daily life. And if you ignore it, stress alone can sabotage all your hard work. You can have the perfect diet, the best workout plan, and even sleep 8 hours a night, but if stress is running your life, belly fat will keep hanging on. Stress is one of the most underestimated enemies in the fight against fat, and here's why. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the hormone designed to help you survive danger. Back in the caveman days, that was useful. Cortisol gave you energy to run from predators or fight for your life. But in today's world, predators aren't lions, they're deadlines, bills, and endless notifications. And unlike ancient stress, modern stress doesn't go away after a sprint. It lingers. High cortisol has a direct link to belly fat. Why? First, it tells your body to hold on to fat, especially around the abdomen. Second, it increases your cravings for high-calorie comfort foods, think sweets, salty snacks, and fast food. And third, it interferes with your sleep, which creates an endless cycle: more stress, worse sleep, more cravings, more fat. Think about it. How many times have you had a long, exhausting day, only to collapse on the couch with snacks you didn't even plan to eat? That's not just a lack of willpower, that's stress chemistry hijacking your brain. The scary part is this: chronic stress doesn't just add belly fat. It also increases your risk of serious health problems like heart disease, diabetes, and depression. This isn't only about how you look in the mirror, it's about your long-term health. So, how do you fight back? The goal isn't to eliminate stress completely, that's impossible. The goal is to manage it. Start with your breath. Simple breathing exercises, slow inhales through the nose, long exhales through the mouth, can lower cortisol levels in minutes. Meditation, journaling, or even a daily walk without your phone can calm your nervous system. Next, move your body. Exercise isn't just for burning calories, it's one of the most powerful stress relievers there is. A workout helps burn off adrenaline, lowers cortisol, and boosts endorphins, the feel-good chemicals that fight stress. Don't forget downtime. Schedule time for hobbies, family, laughter, or simply doing nothing. Rest isn't wasted time, it's fuel for your mental and physical health. And finally, watch your environment. Too much caffeine, too much screen time, and constant exposure to news or negativity can all elevate stress. Create boundaries. Protect your peace. Because here's the truth: if you don't deal with stress, it will deal with you. And one of the first places it shows up is right around your waist. But even if you manage stress, sleep well, and train hard, there's still one thing that separates people who succeed from those who quit. It's not a diet, it's not a workout, it's something deeper. Let's talk about consistency, the true key to lasting fat loss. If there's one word that decides whether you'll actually lose belly fat or stay stuck, it's not motivation. It's not even discipline. The real secret? Consistency. Here's the truth, anyone can eat clean for 3 days. Anyone can go all in at the gym for a week. But belly fat doesn't disappear in a week, it's the result of months, even years, of habits. And the only way to reverse it is to build new habits that stick, day after day, long after the excitement wears off. Think about it. How many times have you started a diet or workout program, felt pumped up for a few days, and then, life happened? Work deadlines, family responsibilities, stress. Suddenly, the plan falls apart. That's not because the program didn't work, it's because it wasn't sustainable. Consistency doesn't mean being perfect. It doesn't mean never eating dessert again or never skipping a workout. What it really means is showing up more often than not, and bouncing back when you slip. Missing one workout doesn't ruin your progress. Eating one slice of pizza doesn't undo weeks of effort. What ruins progress is letting one slip turn into a week, then a month. Here's the mindset shift: fat loss isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. The people who succeed aren't the ones who go the hardest for 30 days, they're the ones who make small, repeatable changes they can stick to for 300 days. So, how do you build consistency? Start simple. Don't overhaul your entire life overnight. Pick 1 or 2 habits that feel achievable, like adding a daily walk or swapping soda for water. Once those feel natural, add another. Step by step, you're stacking wins. Another key is tracking. Write down your workouts, your meals, even your sleep. Progress you can see is progress you'll repeat. It keeps you accountable. And finally, focus on identity, not outcomes. Instead of saying, "I want to lose 10 pounds, start saying, "I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body." When your actions match your identity, consistency becomes natural, not forced. Here's the bottom line: belly fat doesn't stand a chance against time and consistency. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be relentless. Show up. Do the work. Day after day. That's how the transformation sticks. But even if you're consistent, there's still a trap waiting for you, one that can wipe out months of progress. It's the lies, myths, and false promises the fitness industry keeps selling you. And if you don't learn to spot them, you'll keep spinning your wheels. If you've ever searched "how to lose belly fat" online, you know the internet is overflowing with quick fixes and miracle claims. Drink this tea. Take this pill. Do this 7-day ab challenge. The problem? Most of it is pure myth, and falling for it keeps people trapped in frustration instead of making real progress. Let's bust some of the biggest ones. Myth number 1, you can spot reduce belly fat with ab exercises. This is probably the most popular lie. Crunches, sit-ups, planks, they build abdominal strength, sure. But they don't melt the fat sitting on top of your muscles. Fat loss doesn't work like a laser beam. Your body loses fat gradually, all over, and the stomach is often one of the last places it lets go. Abs aren't revealed by crunches, they're revealed by a calorie deficit. Myth number 2, detox teas and fat-burning supplements work. You've seen the ads: flat stomach in days if you just drink this tea or swallow these pills. Reality check: at best, these products make you lose water weight or act as laxatives. That's not fat loss, and the second you stop, the weight comes back. At worst, they can mess with your digestion and your health. The only real detox your body needs: the liver and kidneys you were born with. Myth number 3, carbs are the enemy. Low-carb diets are everywhere, and while they can help some people eat fewer calories, carbs themselves don't cause belly fat. The problem isn't bread or rice, it's eating too much of anything. In fact, complex carbs like oats, quinoa, and potatoes fuel your workouts and provide fiber that supports fat loss. Demonizing carbs misses the point: it's total calories that matter. Myth number 4, endless cardio is the answer. Running miles every day will burn calories, but without strength training, you'll lose muscle too. And less muscle means a slower metabolism. That's why so many cardio-only dieters hit plateaus. The truth is, cardio and strength training together are what reshape your body. Myth number 5, quick fixes last. This one hurts the most. Lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks sounds tempting, but extreme diets usually backfire. You might drop weight fast, but it's mostly water and muscle. Then your metabolism slows, cravings explode, and the fat piles back on. The cycle repeats, leaving you more frustrated each time. The truth? Real fat loss takes patience, consistency, and a focus on the basics: nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management. There's no hack around biology. Here's the empowering part, though: once you see through these myths, you can stop wasting time, money, and energy on fads. You can focus on what actually works, and that's when progress becomes steady and sustainable. So if the myths don't work, what does? Let's put all the science and strategies together into a simple, step-by-step roadmap, a plan you can actually follow without losing your mind. We've covered the causes. We've broken down the science. We've debunked the myths. Now it's time to put it all together into something you can actually follow. Because theory is great, but action is what changes your body. Here's your step-by-step roadmap to tackling belly fat. Step 1, create a calorie deficit, without starving yourself. Track what you eat for a week. You don't need to obsess over every gram forever, but awareness is powerful. Find where the hidden calories are sneaking in: sodas, snacks, extra portions, and trim them back. Aim for a small deficit of 300 to 500 calories per day. That's enough to trigger fat loss without crashing your energy. Step 2, build your meals around protein and fiber. Protein preserves muscle while you lose fat and keeps you feeling full. Fiber slows digestion, balances blood sugar, and curbs cravings. Together, they make eating less feel easy instead of miserable. A simple formula: fill half your plate with vegetables, add a palm-sized portion of protein, and finish with a moderate serving of healthy carbs or fats. Step 3, move your body every day. This doesn't mean hours in the gym. It means mixing strength training, to build muscle and raise metabolism, with cardio, to burn calories and improve endurance. 2 to 3 sessions of each per week is a great target. On rest days, stay active with walking, stretching, or light movement. Step 4, prioritize sleep. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep isn't optional, it's the foundation. Set a bedtime, keep your room dark and cool, and put your phone away before bed. Better sleep equals better hormone balance, better recovery, and better fat loss. Step 5, manage stress. Use tools like journaling, meditation, deep breathing, or simply unplugging for 20 minutes. Lower cortisol, and you'll lower belly fat's grip on your body. Step 6, limit alcohol and added sugar. You don't have to cut them completely, but treat them as occasional, intentional choices, not daily habits. Every drink or sugary snack you skip moves you closer to your goal. Step 7, be consistent. Don't look for perfection. Look for patterns. If 80 to 90% of your choices line up with your goals, you'll see progress. And when you slip up, don't quit. Get back on track with the very next meal or workout. This roadmap isn't flashy. It's not a 7-day detox or a one weird trick. It's the basics, repeated over time. But here's the thing, the basics work. They've always worked. And if you commit to them, they'll work for you too. But a roadmap is only as good as the person following it. And the final piece of the puzzle isn't food or workouts, it's mindset. In the last chapter, let's talk about how to shift your perspective, stay motivated, and make this transformation stick for life. We've talked about food. We've talked about training. We've talked about hormones, stress, sleep, and even myths. But there's one last piece of the puzzle, the one that determines whether you'll succeed for a few weeks, or for the rest of your life. And that piece is mindset. Here's the truth, losing belly fat isn't just a physical battle. It's a mental one. Why? Because your body follows where your mind leads. If you see this journey as punishment, cutting foods you love, forcing yourself through workouts you hate, you'll quit the second life gets tough. But if you see it as an act of self-respect, as building strength, health, and confidence, then the process becomes something you want to continue, not something you have to survive. The first mindset shift is this: stop chasing quick fixes. Stop asking, how fast can I lose fat, and start asking, how can I build habits I'll keep for years? Because the truth is, the finish line doesn't exist. This isn't a 30-day challenge. This is about creating a lifestyle where a healthier, leaner body is the byproduct of the way you live every day. The second mindset shift: focus on progress, not perfection. You will mess up. You will skip workouts, eat the dessert, have the drink. That doesn't mean you failed. Progress is built by what you do most of the time, not what you do once in a while. Don't let one mistake spiral into a week of giving up. Learn from it, adjust, and keep moving. The third mindset shift: identity over outcome. Instead of saying, I want abs, start saying, I'm the kind of person who eats with awareness, trains with purpose, and takes care of their body. When you build that identity, the results come naturally, because your daily choices align with who you believe yourself to be. And finally, remember your why. Belly fat isn't just about looks. It's about energy, health, and longevity. Reducing visceral fat lowers your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and countless other conditions. It means playing with your kids without getting winded. It means confidence when you look in the mirror. It means waking up each day with strength, not stress. This journey isn't about chasing perfection, it's about chasing the best version of yourself. One choice at a time. One day at a time. So here's my challenge to you: start today. Don't wait for the perfect Monday or the right time. There is no right time. The right time is now. Your body will change. Your habits will change. But most importantly, you will change. And when that happens, belly fat won't just be something you lose, it will be proof of the person you've become. This is your roadmap. The science, the strategy, the mindset. Now the only question left is, are you ready to start?